Welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're diving deep into some of the most fascinating and valuable coins in the numismatic world. From Canadian pennies, each of these pieces offers a glimpse into history, artistry, and the ever-evolving market. First up, Canada 1 cent 1975 is part of a series of pennies minted by the Royal Canadian Mint. The 1 cent coin, commonly referred to as the penny, has been a staple of Canadian currency since its introduction in 1858. However, the 1975 series stands out due to its unique characteristics and historical significance. In 1975, the Royal Canadian Mint was still minting coins with a composition of 98 copper and 2 tin and zinc, a formula that gave the penny its characteristic reddish hue. This composition would later change in the early 1990s due to concerns about the rising cost of copper, leading to the eventual discontinuation of the penny in 2012. However, the 1975 penny remains an important part of Canadian coinage history. The 1975 Canadian 1 cent features the iconic design by renowned artist George Kruger, Gray. The obverse of the coin features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth I, designed by Arnold Machine, which was used on Canadian coins from 1965 until 1989. On the reverse, you'll find the image of a maple leaf, a symbol of Canada, with the date 1975 prominently displayed. This design represents the Canadian spirit and the importance of the nation's natural resources, with the maple leaf symbolizing strength, endurance, and growth. For the large date variant, the numerals of the year 1975 are noticeably larger than the standard ones, which has led to some interest among collectors due to the visual difference. The penny itself, however, was not altered drastically in terms of size or weight, so its appeal for collectors is more focused on the aesthetics of the date. The mintage of the Canada 1 cent 1975 was substantial, with millions of pennies being struck that year. However, due to its age and certain condition factors, the value of the coin has fluctuated significantly over time. In terms of mintage, the total number of 1 cent coins minted in 1975 was around 945 million, a massive number. For a typical 1975 penny in good circulation condition, you could expect the value to be close to its face value, about a few cents. However, the coin we are focusing on today is the large date version, which holds special appeal for collectors due to its rarity in certain conditions. In black color and dirty condition, the value of this coin has somewhat diminished from its pristine condition counterpart. This type of wear, often caused by exposure to dirt, grease, or oxidation, does impact the value of the coin. However, the black color itself may indicate a unique reaction with certain chemicals or environmental factors over time, which can occasionally attract the attention of niche collectors. The market for coins like these is often based on condition, rarity, and the presence of any unusual features, such as errors or significant wear patterns. A coin in dirty black condition could range in value from approximately $55,000 depending on the auction, while well-maintained versions in fine or better condition could command prices ranging from $56,000 or more. While the 1975 Canadian 1 cent does not feature any major minting errors that are commonly associated with higher value coins, collectors are still drawn to unique characteristics such as the large date. Dirty coins can sometimes be of interest to those who study the effects of wear and tarnishing over time, but for the most part, the market tends to favor cleaner specimens. For those interested in error coins or coins with unusual characteristics, there may be interest in the large date variation, especially if paired with any distinct wear patterns or environmental anomalies. Coins like this also appeal to those who collect based on condition rarity, where a coin in less than perfect condition might actually stand out due to its imperfections. The Canada 1 cent 1975 large date in black color and dirty condition holds a unique position in the numismatic market. While not as highly valuable as pristine examples, it is still of interest to collectors due to its historical significance, distinctive design, and condition rarity. Depending on the state of the market and the level of interest from collectors, this coin could fetch a decent price at auction, especially if it is tied to a collection that focuses on the evolution of Canadian coinage or unusual wear patterns. Next up, the Canada 1 cent 1968 is another significant coin in the history of Canadian currency. The 1960s marked an era of great change for Canada, with the country transitioning through various political and cultural shifts. It was a time when Canada was still a young nation, finding its identity post-World War IE, and coinage like the 1968 penny played an essential role in the day-to-day life of Canadian citizens. In 1968, the Royal Canadian Mint continued to strike pennies composed primarily of copper, following the traditional method established by the Mint. The design on this penny is an example of mid-century Canadian coinage, following the standard practice of using images and motifs that reflect Canada's natural beauty and national pride. The Canada 1 cent 1968 features a familiar George Kruger gray design, with the maple leaf symbolizing the natural environment of Canada. The reverse of the coin displays a highly detailed maple leaf, along with the inscription Canada. And 1 cent, the large date version of the coin, is distinctive due to the enlarged numerals, making it easier to identify compared to the standard version. On the obverse of the coin, the portrait of Queen Elizabeth IE, designed by Arnold Machine, continues to be a prominent feature. This portrait was used on Canadian coins from 1965 through 1989 and features the Queen in profile, symbolizing the continuity of the monarchy in Canada during this period. The 1968 Canadian penny was produced in large quantities, with over 700 million pennies minted. Despite the high mintage, the 1968 penny still carries some collector interest due to its age and the presence of both regular and large date varieties. In terms of value, the typical circulated condition Canada 1 cent 1968 can be found in the $20,000 range, depending on its condition and the specific characteristics of the coin. Coins that are particularly well preserved can be worth slightly more, especially if they feature the large date variety, which is more visually appealing to collectors. As with many older coins, the Canada 1 cent 1968 does not feature a significant number of minting errors, but collectors do appreciate the large date variety, which is somewhat rarer than the standard 1968 issue. The value of the coin increases if it has been well preserved, and those in uncirculated condition or high-grade circulated condition may fetch higher prices. The large date itself, while not necessarily an error, represents a subtle variation in the mintage process, and for some collectors, this variation makes the coin more desirable. As with many coins from the 1960s, the historical context and the period of transition in Canadian history make this a fascinating addition to any collection. Next up, the Canada 1 cent 1969 with a large date in red color condition is an iconic coin that carries both historical significance and rarity. Before diving into its value, let's take a look at its historical background design features and why it's a coin that collectors highly seek today. In 1969, Canada experienced several key events, including the 100th anniversary of the founding of the nation and an evolving post-war economy. The 1 cent coin of 1969, while appearing like many other regular pennies at first glance, holds a unique place in Canadian numismatic history due to its particular design and the way it was produced during a time of changing monetary needs. The 1969 1 cent coin is one of the last major issues before the Canadian penny's design underwent substantial changes. While the Royal Canadian Mint produced millions of pennies over the years, this particular year's coin stands out because of its design alterations and its remarkable red color condition, which means the coin has retained its original glossy red luster, making it highly desirable for collectors. The 1969 1 cent coin features the iconic image of Queen Elizabeth IE, which was first introduced in 1953. The obverse side shows her portrait facing right, designed by artist Mary Gillick. This coin, in particular, had a unique version of the Queen's effigy as part of a series that continued to evolve over the years. Her likeness was updated with more detail in later years, but the 1969 version remained a symbol of mid-20th century Canada. On the reverse side, the coin displays a maple leaf motif. The maple leaf, long a symbol of Canadian identity, beautifully complements the 1 cent denomination, highlighting the country's agricultural and natural heritage. The large date on the coin is one of the key distinguishing features of this specific year. The numerals are spaced more widely apart than on some other years, making it stand out when compared to other years in the 1960 series. In terms of mintage, the 1969 1-cent coin saw a large production run. The Royal Canadian Mint struck over 500 million pennies that year, a common practice in the late 1960s as demand for coins in circulation was high. However, the red color condition significantly narrows the pool of high-value specimens, making those in pristine original condition quite rare. While many of these coins were heavily circulated, red coins, those showing no signs of tarnishing or wear, are significantly harder to find, which drives up the price in today's auction market. A red 1969 1-cent coin in uncirculated condition with little to no oxidation can fetch a premium price. As of recent auctions, the value of a Canada 1-cent 1969 large date in red condition can range anywhere between $100,000 depending on the coin's condition and certification. Coins that are graded by trusted services like CG's or NCE have a greater potential to command higher prices, especially if the coin is graded MES 65 or higher. While the coin isn't as rare as other historical pennies, collectors still value it for its near-perfect condition and its unique appeal. The value can spike dramatically if it's part of a specific error series, such as a double die or off-center strike, which we'll touch on shortly. The 1969 Canada 1-cent is also a prime candidate for errors. Errors in minting are a huge draw for collectors, and any abnormalities in the strike or design can significantly increase the coin's market value. One of the most common errors related to this series is the double die variety, where the coin's design has been stamped twice, resulting in a slight misalignment that can be seen under magnification. Error coins like this can raise the value substantially, sometimes fetching hundreds of dollars if the condition is also top-notch. Additionally, coins from this era that exhibit planchet flaws or misprints could see a premium price depending on their significance. Collectors have a deep interest in this coin not only for its historical context, but also for its role in Canadian currency evolution. The shift from the traditional large cent to the more modern small-sized coins began in the early 1970s, making this coin part of a pivotal moment in Canadian numismatic history. In conclusion, the 1969 1-cent large date in red condition is an intriguing piece that carries more than just face value. Its historical significance, design features, and potential for error make it a standout for collectors, and its value in the auction market continues to grow, albeit slowly but steadily. Next up, we have the Canada 1-cent 1962 with a large date in fine condition. This is a coin that exemplifies the beauty and simplicity of Canadian pennies during the early 1960s. Let's dive deeper into its history, design features, and current value in the auction market. The year 1962 marked a significant time in Canadian history, especially in terms of political and social developments. Canada was in the midst of navigating the challenges of a post-war world. With new economic policies and cultural shifts, the 1-cent coin of 1962 was struck during a period when Canada was still using the large-sized pennies, a characteristic that would be phased out in later years. The 1962 penny stands out in the context of Canadian coinage for being part of a transitional period where currency designs were gradually evolving, but still adhered to traditional motifs like the maple leaf and Queen Elizabeth I's portrait. Much like the 1969 penny, the 1962 1-cent features the classic portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. This coin, designed by Mary Gillick, presents a younger, fresh face of the Queen. The large date format further gives this coin a distinct look compared to other years in the 1960s. The reverse features the traditional maple leaf, which was a common element in Canadian pennies at the time, symbolizing the country's agricultural roots. However, there are nuances in the design compared to other years, such as the slightly different positioning of the leaf and the placement of the date. The 1962 1-cent coin, like its later counterparts, was produced in large quantities. More than 400 million pennies were struck that year. However, coins in fine condition, showing moderate wear but still recognizable details, are relatively more common compared to those in uncirculated or red condition. Coins in fine condition are not rare, but they hold steady value among collectors due to their historic significance and the specific features of the year, such as the large date and the specific details in the design. For a 1962 1 cent in fine condition, you can typically expect to see auction prices between $20,000, depending on the grading of the coin. While this coin does not command the sky-high prices of rarer higher-grade coins, it remains a collectible piece for enthusiasts looking to complete their Canadian penny sets or for those interested in the historic transitions in Canadian numismatic history. Error coins from 1962 are often the most desirable among collectors, particularly double dies and die cracks, which occur during the minting process. The large date style itself provides a unique opportunity for error collectors, as small misalignments in the die could lead to significant changes in the appearance of the coin. While not the rarest penny out there, the 1962 penny has seen increased interest in recent years as part of the broader fascination with Canadian currency and the phasing out of the 1 cent coin itself in 2013. Next up, the Canada 1 cent 1974 coin is a remarkable piece from a time when Canada's currency was undergoing significant changes. In the early 1970s, Canada was transitioning to modernized designs for its coins, including the 1 cent coin, which had been issued since 1858. The 1974 series, produced at the Royal Canadian Mint, continued the long tradition of featuring the iconic maple leaf design on the reverse and Queen Elizabeth I's portrait on the obverse. The 1974 coin, however, became famous for the specific minting error and some unique discoloration characteristics. The obverse of the Canada 1 cent 1974 coin displays the effigy of Queen Elizabeth IEE by Arnold Machine, a design that had been used on Canadian coinage since 1965. On the reverse side, you'll find a single stylized maple leaf in the center, symbolizing Canada's national identity. The coin's design is simple, yet it carries a strong message of national pride. What makes the 1974 version particularly unique is the large date variation. Unlike the regular size date seen on earlier coins, the 1974 large date is noticeably larger and more pronounced. This gives it a distinct look and adds to its appeal among collectors, especially those looking for specific date variations. Additionally, the coin in this video has a black color shade due to a form of toning or corrosion caused by exposure to harsh environmental conditions. This gives the coin a unique appearance, though it does reduce its overall aesthetic quality. Over 800 million 1 cent coins were minted in 1974, making this a common coin overall. However, the large date variation adds some intrigue and increases the potential value for collectors looking to complete their collections. Despite being relatively common, the particular condition of the coin we are discussing, dirty with a black shade, puts it in a separate category of interest, particularly among those who specialize in finding coins with unique imperfections or toning. The Canada 1 cent 1974 large date coin in a dirty condition with a black color shade is not considered highly valuable in comparison to other pristine examples. However, even in this condition, the coin can fetch a decent price depending on the auction market and the collector's interest in toned or imperfect coins. As of today, this coin can be valued anywhere from $200,000 in dirty condition, but rarer minting errors or unique features can push that price higher at specialty auctions. The market value fluctuates based on the condition and the demand for these specific variations. While the 1974 Canada 1 cent is not known for major minting errors, its large date variation and unique toning, due to corrosion or chemical exposure, are highly appealing to certain collectors who appreciate imperfections in their coins. Coins that feature discoloration or a black shade can command higher prices at auctions, especially when the corrosion creates an attractive or eye-catching patina. It's important to note that collectors interested in errors or unusual coins might find this one particularly attractive. Next up, the Canada 1 cent 1949 coin was minted during a time of significant economic change following the end of World War I. Canada, like many other countries, was transitioning from wartime austerity to peacetime prosperity. The 1949 1 cent coin continues the tradition of the maple leaf design on the reverse. a symbol of Canada's national identity, and the obverse bears the portrait of King George V, who reigned from 1936 until his death in 1952. The design of the 1949 1-cent coin is quite similar to other coins from this period, featuring King George V's effigy on the obverse. The reverse side shows two maple leaves, symbolizing the abundant natural resources that are central to Canada's identity. The most notable feature of this coin is the large date on the reverse. The large date refers to the size of the numerals, which are slightly larger compared to other years or versions. The larger size of the date adds a distinctiveness to the 1949 coins, which is why they catch the eye of collectors. The mintage for the Canada 1-cent 1949 coin was relatively high, with more than 150 million coins struck. Despite the large mintage, this specific coin remains an important part of many collectors' inventories due to the large date variation. While not particularly rare, this specific coin still commands collector interest due to its design and age. In fine condition, the 1949 Canada 1-cent coin can have a value ranging from $86,000 in today's market. The value is slightly higher compared to coins in lower conditions, thanks to its large date variety and the fact that it is now considered a vintage piece. Collectors looking for coins from the late 1940s and early 1950s with clear design features will find this coin to be an appealing addition to their collection. There are no major minting errors associated with this coin, but collectors of Canadian numismatics still have strong interest in it, especially because of its historical significance and the large date variation. The coin's design, age, and relative scarcity in higher grades make it a popular choice for collectors who specialize in vintage Canadian coins. Next up, the Canada 1-cent 1945 coin is a piece of Canadian history that collectors seek out for its unique attributes. This coin was minted during a significant time in Canadian history. 1945 marked the end of World War I, a period of rebuilding and economic recovery for Canada. The 1-cent coin from this year is not only a testament to that era, but also a fascinating subject for coin collectors. In 1945, the Canadian economy was still deeply affected by the impacts of World War I, but the country was moving toward recovery and growth. The year 1945 is notable because it represents a transitional moment. Canada was emerging from wartime austerity, and its coinage reflected a moment of change, signaling new economic stability. The 1945 1-cent coin was minted in the traditional bronze metal, with a design that had been used for several years by the Royal Canadian Mint. The 1945 Canada 1-cent coin features a design of a maple leaf, one of Canada's most prominent national symbols, placed alongside the year 1945. On the reverse side, the coin showcases the traditional 1-cent denomination. The obverse features a portrait of King George V, who ruled Canada from 1936 to 1952. His portrait is depicted in a classic style by artist E.T.H. Paget. However, what sets the 1945 1-cent apart for collectors is the large date variety. These large digits are more noticeable compared to earlier years, and they became a distinctive feature of the 1945 coin. The large date variety is quite rare, and this unique feature makes the 1945 coin particularly sought after by collectors. The 1945 1-cent coin was produced in large numbers, with a mintage of approximately 746 million coins. However, the mintage alone does not fully dictate its value. The true value lies in the coin's condition and specific varieties. For instance, the large date variety is of particular interest to collectors and those in exceptional condition, such as a red color shade, which indicates minimal wear and no corrosion, can command high prices at auctions. A coin in red color shade condition, often considered uncirculated or almost uncirculated, is the most prized of all. These coins are typically stored in optimal conditions and have a brilliant luster with no signs of fading or tarnish. When they do appear on the auction market, they are highly coveted by collectors and can fetch a significant sum. The 1945 large date coin in red condition has been known to sell for upwards of $200,000 in today's market, though prices can escalate if the coin is graded higher or features any special errors. In today's market, a 1945 Canada 1-cent coin in red condition can be worth anywhere from $100,000 or more, depending on the specific quality and certification of the coin. If the coin has been graded Mrs. 65 or higher by a professional grading service, it may be valued even higher, sometimes approaching $99,000 or more. Auctions, especially those specializing in Canadian numismatics, can see these values fluctuate based on demand. As with many coins, error specimens of the 1945 1 cent are highly valuable. Some collectors focus on minting defects such as off-center strikes, double strikes, or overdates. However, these are extremely rare and often require expert examination. If you happen to find a 1945 1 cent with a significant error, it could easily push the value beyond the $94,000 mark and into the collector's elite category. Next up, the Canada 1 cent 1950. This coin stands as one of the later examples of the iconic maple leaf design before the eventual retirement of the 1 cent coin in 2012. Much like the 1945 coin, the 1950 version holds a certain historical and numismatic value. The 1950 large date variety is also quite distinct, and when paired with a very fine condition grading, it becomes a valuable piece in any collection. The 1950s marked a post-war boom for Canada, both economically and politically. The country was entering a time of prosperity, and the minting of coins like the 1951 cent reflects that stable, growth-focused period. The design of the 1950 coin is quite similar to its predecessors, with the same prominent maple leaf featured prominently on the reverse side. The 1950 coin also has a high mintage, but what makes it interesting is the large date variety and its very fine condition. Similar to other 1 cent coins from this era, the 1950 coin features a central maple leaf with Canada and 1 cent inscribed around the rim. The obverse of the coin features a slightly modified portrait of King George V, who remained on Canadian coinage until his passing in 1952. The large date variety from 1950 is known for its bold and easily distinguishable digits, which stand out compared to other years. The 1950 Canada 1 cent coin's design remained largely unchanged throughout the 1940s and early 1950s, but the large digits for the year on the 1950 coin make it particularly appealing to collectors looking for specific features. The coin is produced in bronze and has a reddish tint when in excellent condition, which is why coins in very fine condition can appear nearly as bright as new. The 1950 Canada 1 cent coin had a large mintage of approximately 507 million coins, making it relatively common, but the large date variety can still be hard to find in good condition. When these coins are in very fine condition, meaning they show only light wear with clearly visible details, they are quite valuable. A coin with this grade can fetch around $69,000 at auction, though if you get a higher grade specimen or a coin that has been graded as MES 63 or higher, the price can jump dramatically. In the current market, the 1950 large date coin in very fine condition is typically valued at $73,000 coins in MES 63 or higher, particularly those that are red in color and show minimal signs of wear, could fetch $76,000 or more depending on the demand at auction. Next up, the Canada 1 cent 1946 in very fine condition is an excellent example of mid-20th century Canadian currency. In 1946, Canada was still recovering from the aftermath of World War II, a time of social and economic transformation. This coin, featuring a large date design, is not only significant for its historical context, but also for its appeal to collectors today. In the mid-1940s, Canada, like many other nations, was rebuilding after the war. The economy was stabilizing and currency production resumed full force. 1946 marked the first full year of production for coins after the war, with many coins being minted to replace those that were worn out during the war effort. The 1 cent coin, part of the small cent series that replaced the larger penny, was widely used for everyday transactions, making it one of the most circulated coins of its time. The 1946 1 cent coin features a simple yet elegant design. On the obverse, it bears the portrait of King George V, which was used on Canadian currency from 1937 until his death in 1952. The reverse design features the iconic maple leaf, a symbol of Canada's national identity. The coin is struck in bronze and has a diameter of 19.5 mm. The large date version, seen in the 1946 issue, is notable for its slightly larger and more prominent numbers, which distinguishes it from other years in the series. The mintage of the 1946 1 cent is significant, with around 272 million pieces produced. Despite the large mintage, coins in very fine condition still carry considerable value today, often fetching upwards of $56,000 depending on the auction or sale conditions. However, coins in higher grades such as extremely fine or uncirculated, mins, condition can command much higher prices, often exceeding $57,000. Collectors particularly value errors and misprints, and the 1946 1 cent is no exception. Some varieties feature off, center strikes, or misaligned dies, which increase their appeal. The large date version of this coin is more desirable because of its distinguishing characteristics, which make it easier for collectors to identify and more sought after on the market. The interest in this coin is further bolstered by its role in Canada's post-war currency production. As with many coins from this era, collectors are drawn not only to the design and rarity, but also to the coin's historical significance, especially as the 1946 penny marks a transitional moment in Canadian minting practices.